As we move on to the last lesson, we will discuss architecture frameworks. An architecture framework determines the convention, values, and practices for the depiction of the architectures recognized within an explicit domain of application or communal of stakeholders. Software architecture framework provides support for implementation, evaluation, deployment, execution, object frameworks, middleware technologies. Every architecture framework has a family, and general members of the family include different types of programming languages, support for underlying layers, and architectural styles. Why architecture framework? Before using architecture framework, it's important for you to understand why it's necessary for the development of architecture. The main reason for using architecture framework is that it gives a generic universe for communication of every person involved in the development of the architecture. The person includes developers, designers, users, operators, and stakeholders. People can address the same issue simultaneously with the help of architecture framework. It is not necessary for the architecture frameworks to be comprehensive, but they should provide the starter and the description of the real issue occurred during the design phase. Components of architecture framework. A basic architecture framework has following basic components. Presentation or view. As the name suggests, it is used for the communication among different components of the architecture. Provides the way for gathering and organizing data. It also helps in achieving integrity, completeness, and accuracy by constructing the views. Knowledge provides support for methods and views. Types of architecture framework. There are 4 types of architecture framework: TOGAF, FIF, DODAF, and Judgment. TOGAF. This type of architecture framework provides openly available industry standards to develop the application. This framework can be used in combination with other frameworks. It allows you to use multiple frameworks, models, and architectural process along with different TOGAF methods. FIF. The main purpose of this architecture framework is to achieve interoperability. DODAF. The basic purpose of this architecture framework is to ensure the relationship between architecture description and organizational boundaries. This architecture framework also provides rules and guidelines for preparing architecture description. DODAF focuses on the presentation of architecture and provides little information on the implementation of the architecture. Judgment. This framework provides the implementation detail of an architecture from different perspectives. The main purpose of this framework is to ensure that all the aspects of the functional requirements are implemented. It is important to note that these architecture frameworks are mostly used alone, but in order to satisfy the needs of the stakeholders, a combination of these frameworks may also be used.